What's going on, people? Welcome to the final edition of the NBA Mock Draft Live Show. Guys, we are here. Well, almost here. We're almost at the draft. It is finally, draft season is finally upon us. We're a few days away. So I decided to get, like I've done with the previous shows, get a group, some of the best draft guys, out here together and mock up round one of the draft and get our thoughts on the class. We're like I said, 2 days away from the draft. I think we lost one of our guys already, but we got a great group of guys with me, so I'm excited to get started with this. And like I said, draft's coming up, so I'm excited. I got a great group of guys with me. So let me introduce the guys that I got. I got Zak Noble. I've had Zak on the show before. So excited to have him on the show. Thanks for coming on, man. How's everything?
Appreciate it. I just recovered from the vid. Everybody in the family had it. It was bad news, but I'm here and kicking, so we're good.
Nice.
Bless up, man. Bless up.
Yeah, I got Nathan Grubel. What's going on, Nathan?
Happy to be here, my man. I'm excited for this.
Yes. I got Max. I'm Vax. I might butcher the last part of your name.
Auken. I'll do it for you. Max Van Auken. Call me Bruce Buffer.
Max Van Auken. Max Van Auken. Thanks for coming on the show, man. This is I'm looking forward to it. And we have Chris Bolton too. I don't know where he's at. He's somewhere. He's hiding. He's hiding somewhere. So he'll be coming on shortly. So guys, draft season's here. We're finally here, right? It's draft week. We're here finally, right? It's been a long process, right? Long process. So we're finally here. Just give me your thoughts on, everything leading up to this, the process and just how tired of you of this class already. Zak, how you feeling about this?
Long time coming, like you said. It feels like 16 years, but being my team's in charge, I'm happy that they had all the time in the world to make this pick. But the thing that disappoints me is how many people kind of took this time wrongly and just changed stuff on their boards and made all these imaginary ideas to move things around just because of time. Not because they're certain and they believe in these picks. It's just, I feel like I need to change something because I want to release a new board. And you see all these guys doing that left and right, where the guys that know, they've been certain with their stuff for a while and they put in the time. But yeah, I understand things take time and you take it all, but you shouldn't be second guessing yourself like a lot of these I'm seeing people do.
Yeah, with all this time, there's gonna be a whole lot. There's a lot of people have been second guessing and just little just nitpicking at this point. I'm sure a lot of people know who's going where, but you're just doing some little nitpicks. Max, how's the process going for you? Just with all the craziness and everything going on.
Right. Everyone has a board. Everyone has their opinions. Guys they don't like. Guys that they do like. Honestly, I've just been studying through all 60 prospects for this year's draft, and I think there's a lot of. I think this draft, I said it before. I think people want like the flashy and the sexy. I don't think this is that type of draft. Like you think of the Zion and the Jaws. I think this draft, type of draft. Don't get me wrong. There's star potential in this draft, but I think this draft has a lot of guys that are going to make a lot of good teams, great teams, guys that you need on your roster. You're going to get a lot of that. So there's guys that are going to fall down who I really like. So I'm fascinated with it. It's always interesting when it's complete chaos. So I'm a fan.
Chaos is always good, right?
Yeah.
Nathan, how's the process going for you as far as evaluating all these guys?
Yeah, I agree with Zak. A lot of my board, for the most part, has been set for months. So it's pretty much been a lot of little tweaking here and there, but not a ton. I think for the most part, my movement's just been like if a guy has moved up like a few spots, that's just kind of been a formality. But the only real mover I've had on my board is Tyrell Terry. And that's been a lot of the stuff that's come out in terms of like the combine measurements. I trust the agency that is represented by. I've said that on my show, the Draft Deeper podcast, multiple times that I pretty much know the people who have started that agency and who they represent, who they want to represent. So character is a big thing for me going into the draft. And when you're evaluating guys, it's about the off the court stuff too, and what you're bringing into the locker room. So that's probably been the real only like mover or riser on my board. Other than that, it's pretty much been set.
I want to say, Nathan, that's like an acceptable one because that dude seems like he's busting ass more than anybody right now. He like put on 15 pounds. That says something.
He got swole. He got swole.
He's a hard worker. He's
got an NBA body.
I believe he's a hard worker.
Yeah. That video that came out was like, I mean, that was the one thing people were harping him about, like, was his size, and then boom, it comes out
160 graduating college. That's small.
That's small. I mean,
well, even bigger than the weight thing, the fact that he's 6'3", if he's 6'3", that makes a huge difference because finishing in the paint was probably one of his questions as a guard. At the end of the day, you have to be able to make shots around the rim as well. You can't just be one-dimensional camping outside the three-point arc and just bombing shots, right? So if he's able to do that at a higher level, that just raises his stock even more to the point where, yeah, I guess if you're Bill Simmons, you probably really are rooting for him to go to the Celtics at 14. So
yeah, he's been harping
let's
on
see what
that,
happens.
Simmons, for sure. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Let's get into the draft. That's what the people want to see. Let's get right into it. So,
yes, sir.
We got the Timberwolves with the #1 pick. Zach, Wolves are on the clock. You're the GM. Who's
Man, I've felt this pressure since you selected me to be the #1 pick. This is my team, my city. Yes. I grew up with these guys, so
that's what really, I gave it to you. I know. I wanted to see that field. You know.
Hey, it's the last mock, so this is the real one. It's the only one that matters.
This is it.
This is it. No other mocks. After this, mocks is all done with. I never want to see a mock again.
There we go. So with that said, this pick, I mean, I've had it set for months. He's been #1 on my board for, I don't know, as long as I can remember. The only guy that I've considered moving up there is Killian Hayes, but he didn't crack it. This pick came down to 3 guys. That's James Wiseman, Killian Hayes, and the guy I'm selecting is Anthony Edwards out of Georgia.
Okay.
Wow.
Edwards.
I think he's the best fit with Cat and D'Lo, the 2 centerpieces of Minnesota right now, and I think he's got the highest ceiling in this draft.
Okay. How do you guys feeling about that? How do you? Because in my opinion, I feel like he's the one guy that I feel like no matter what is definitely going top 3. Like everyone else is like kind of uncertain. We don't know where they're gonna go, but I'm pretty certain that Anthony Edwards.
Melo there.
Melo too, yeah. But I don't think Edwards drops past 3. You know, I think Charlotte's there. He's gonna go to Charlotte. So that's the one guy I'm confident is going top 3 for sure. So how do you guys feel?
I like Edwards, and you don't want to take too much. Like you don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. But when Clutch Sports did that open workout, I think one thing that was really apparent to everybody was his size and his explosiveness. I talked to my guy Combo on my podcast, and we always talk about his skill. But like with Zion Williamson, we talked about his athleticism. But when you have someone like Anthony Edwards, he possesses so many different qualities. I think his size and athleticism is almost getting overlooked now. So when you saw that power, that explosiveness, I can't argue that Anthony Edwards is a beast, and I think he fits in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I guess talent-wise, he's a great fit in between D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns just based off pure talent. But my only question for you, Zach, do you believe that the Timberwolves have the pieces in place to be able to support him from a chemistry and from an educational standpoint, both on and off the floor? I think that's probably what Edwards needs the most, is he needs the right people around him, because he's a good character guy overall. You listen to any of the interviews, he's a great interview, man. He loves the game of basketball. He loves to live life. He's just a happy guy. And I think that people like that, if the question's more about development rather than the talent, you just need the right people around you.
Yeah, I think he's a dog and got the killer instinct in him, and I think that's what Minnesota needs as well. However, I don't believe in our coaches or our development staff, but that's also why I'm choosing Anthony Edwards, because I believe he's a guy, honestly, that doesn't need perfection to give him perfect structure, I should say. I think all he needs is the touches and to be let free, really. As long as there's a little bit of structure, I think he's going to learn from the veterans around him and figure this thing out regardless. I think what could hurt him is if he had the structure of Minnesota but didn't get the 30-plus minutes that he's going to get there.
D'Angelo Russell's been around the block, so he's learned some life lessons that he can definitely impart on Anthony Edwards. We could say that.
That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, so Anthony Edwards is the #1 pick in this draft. All right, so we got the Golden State Warriors. Max, who you taking?
Man, let me put on the GM cap. So I spoke to Steve Kerr. I've spoken to Steph and Clay, and they told me you find a need and you fill it. So considering that I have Draymond, I have Wiggins, I have Clay, and I have Steph, some young guys off the bench, I'm going to fill the need. I want a mobile big man who can move his feet, block shots, rim run, and develop. I am going James Wiseman. Pretty easy pick for me.
Great pick.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
James Wiseman is the pick. All right, so how do you think Golden State keeps this pick, guys? Or do you think that, there's a good chance they trade out? Because that's obviously been a rumor too that, they might trade it. So you guys think that this is a possible? Yeah.
I think Minnesota and Golden State try to trade. I think they both need to more than anybody in the last few years at the 1 and 2 spot. I think they're both extremely desperate.
I just don't know what the trade is. That's the problem. I don't know who the guy is that they're really going to target. And you figure we understand, like, we have questions about the star power at the top of this draft, but who are you moving that pick for that's really going to move the needle? And then you figure, depending on who you're going after, then you're potentially packaging in Wiggins. And I know people want to just, write off Wiggins, but at the same time, we haven't seen him with a healthy Steph, Clay, and Draymond all on the floor at the same time, and we haven't seen him after he's had some time to develop and learn their systems and see if he can be a good fit. So I don't know what the trade is. I agree with Zach; they're going to try to trade the pick, but I just don't know what it is.
Sounds like they're open with Draymond too.
Possibly.
Could be. The Warriors are ahead of the curve, so maybe you have a team like that and who's aggressive. There's really nothing off the table.
Yeah, definitely for sure. All right, so James Wiseman is off the board. So we got the 3rd pick. Chris, I know that you're were you happy with that pick? You're a Warriors fan. You happy with Wiseman going there?
I
know you're not a Wiseman guy.
Not really. I think if you're going to take a big top 5, I really want him to big top 5. I really want he's like an Embiid or Cat that, he's someone that you can definitely build your franchise around moving forward. I understand it being a good fit and someone who can possibly be that version. But I would take, I can understand it. His athleticism, his jaw dropping. You see him in the gym working out. I'm pretty sure you're gonna come away like, yeah, you got it. That wasn't my #1 pick for Golden State.
Okay. All right. So you're on the clock right now. We got the Charlotte Hornets are on the clock.
But for the Hornets, I would take.
You broke up there, boss. I think we lost him.
Oh no,
we lost.
I'm taking LaMelo Ball with the 3rd.
Oh, okay. LaMelo Ball. We heard that. Okay.
France PG.
You're breaking up, bro. You're breaking up, but LaMelo Ball was the pick. LaMelo Ball was the pick. How do you guys feel about LaMelo Ball?
That makes sense.
Lost me.
Right?
Yeah, we're losing you, bro.
They got to get rid of Terry or Graham, that's for sure.
They need some dynamic. They need a dynamic player. I was able to cover a Hornets game this year. It feels like forever ago, considering everything that happened this year. But that's what they need, that economic move, someone to put butts in seats, someone to feel excited about. You need that guard. LaMelo does that. He's a very I feel like you talk to someone, they love him. You talk to another, he has bust potential. But either way, he's interesting, and you're intrigued by it. I think he's going to be good. I think LaMelo would add that spark that the Hornets need.
Exactly what you said. It's the star power, right? They need star power. Like they need to put people in the seats. Whenever people can get back in the seats, they're going to need that. Losing Kemba was huge, and they're going to need that star and that star power. So I think LaMelo definitely, whether it's good or bad, he's going to bring that because the name is there, and he's going to sell jerseys. Everyone's going to want the jersey. So all that, this is more of a business move than anything. And, I think this would, LaMelo.
Not to mention the positional upside. We forget, sometimes we do forget that he's 6'7", right? Like, why can't you potentially play 2 guards with him
Yeah,
and then him on the floor.
I'm
like,
on the cell phone now, fellas. The laptop.
Hey, there we go.
So let's see
You got to adapt.
No, I personally think the Knicks and the Hornets should do everything they can to get to the #1 pick, just because they need that star potential.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. So, I wouldn't be shocked if the Knicks do something. Maybe that's why they're so quiet.
Usually when there's quiet, there's a move to happen. So that's what we saw. Nobody expected Phoenix to make that trade for Chris Paul that we learned about today. And don't be shocked if Oklahoma City makes a move and goes soaring up the top of that draft board if Jonathan Givony is to be believed. So and I believe his sources.
Yeah. It wouldn't shock me. All right, so we got LaMelo off the board. We got the Chicago Bulls next, and that's me. And I'm gonna go take Killian Hayes here. He's my number one guy. He's my
Great
number
pick.
one. Yeah, I just since I've watched tape of him, he's just been my guy, and it's just I love his game, love his playmaking, I think that the shooting will improve at the next level and all that. I know people worry about 3-point shooting and all that, but I love his size. I think the defense potential is there too. Adam with Kobe White there with Zach LaVine, I think they could do some real serious damage there. So I'm gonna go with Killian Hayes here for Chicago.
Let me reverse the script on you real quick. How do you think that goes with Zach? And do you think that complements Zach extremely well? Like, do you think that fits there where we're going to see Zach's job? He's going to feel like his job is easier day in and day out because he has Killian there? Like you say,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it makes it easier for him for sure.
Don't you think they need to trade one of Zach or Kobe if they're going with Killian? Because I do.
I think they can make it work. I
don't think any of them reach their ceiling if all three of them are there.
I think it could work somehow. I think it could work, especially in the East. I think it could work out in the East, but it'll be interesting. They may have to move.
Offensively, it works. It's defensively that we would have the question. Offensively, it works. Zach LaVine's one of the better catch and shoot 3-point guys that we have in the league.
And he's gotten better.
He about that sometimes. So
he keeps improving too. He keeps getting better and better. So I just like Killing. I like the player. Just the best player of LL at this point, and him and Kobe White backcourt to me would be just dynamic. So
they need a guy who can play out of pick and roll and find other guys. Like they don't have that on the roster. Like Kobe White's not the best pick and roll playmaker. Zach LaVine's proven that he's an off guard. He's not a point guard. So they don't have that right now. Chris Dunn obviously wasn't the answer. So
yeah, they declined.
Bringing in Killian Hayes, those bigs especially too. They need a guy that can get him the ball. So I had him. Chris knows I had him mocked. When I did a mock, I had him fourth going to the Bulls, and I like to pick a lot.
Bulls might be thinking the same. Zach is rumored out there. So is every other player, though.
Every player is rumored everywhere. So, all right. So we got Killian off the board. Now we got the Cleveland Cavaliers at 5. Nathan, who's the pick?
I'm going to stay with my mock that I've had set up. I'm going to choose Danny Avdija at number 5, and I'm very confident in that pick. Now, I shared with Chris when I had him on my podcast this past week that I may be crazy. I really don't think the Cavaliers are that bad of a team if everybody's there and everyone's healthy. Now, Garland is coming back. Yeah, Garland's coming back from an injury. He didn't get the chance to fully show what he was made of in his rookie year. He gets a lot more experience under his belt. He's done a lot of great work in the offseason with the clutch guys. So you got him being back to full strength. Colin Sexton improved a lot last year as a scorer from all 3 levels. You still have Kevin Love. You have Andre Drummond. So plug in the hole at the 3, a combo 3-4 forward. Another guy who's just a competitor. He's tough. He's going to go and play defense for you. He's smart. He's maybe not like the point forward that everyone wants to bill him as or thinks he will be, but he's a guy, if you get him the ball and you ask him to make quick decisions with it, he will find the right man and keep the ball moving within that offense. Not to mention he proved over the offseason when he was one of the only ones playing basketball in this draft class, he really improved his spot-up shooting. And, again, if you're spreading the floor 4 round 1 around Andre Drummond, that's a dangerous team still to make the playoffs, I think, in the Eastern Conference. I'm not sleeping on the Cavs.
Nice pick.
Perfect fit. And I thought the same about the Cavs upside until I saw my boy Kevin Porter in the orange suit.
Yeah, that's tough.
I'm setting prayers up for him, man. He
sucks. I love him a lot.
Yeah, got a lot going on.
He's got a lot. He's so talented, though. Like he's such a gifted player, and I just hope that everything goes well for him because he could be something. He really could. I mean, the fact that they got him so late in the draft was just kind of crazy.
Right.
But if he gets his head straight, he could definitely be
It's
a
definitely
nice.
not a talent issue with him.
I had him top 10 on my board last year.
Who was the fourth pick? While I had all these technical difficulties.
Killian Hayes.
We went Killian to Chicago.
Killian to Chicago. Okay.
Killian to Chicago, and we got Denny to Cleveland, and now we got the New York Knicks are on the clock.
Ooh.
No, the Atlanta Hawks are on.
Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of
Getting
myself.
excited.
Mistaken. This is my pick, right?
I'm so anxious what the Knicks are doing that I just want them to pick already, and just so we got the Atlanta Hawks on the clock.
Again, I'm going to stick with my mock, and I'm going to go with probably the fit I favor the most in this top 10, and that's Isaac Okoro to the Hawks. Now I've talked about this in multiple places now. I think the best thing that the Atlanta Hawks could do, especially since a lot of people want to talk about how disappointing Cam Reddish has been in his rookie season up until like the end before everything got shut down, how disappointing DeAndre Hunter was. You still have some questions about Herter. Where does he fit into all this? Bring in a guy who can compete and light a fire underneath those guys and see who's going to come out on top. Because Okoro's one of the more competitive guys in the whole draft class. He's obviously a special defensive talent. We have questions about him offensively, but really, if you're bringing him in, you're believing that Trae Young is going to lock down a lot of the scoring. Obviously, him and Capella are going to do their damage in the pick and roll. You need guys to be able to spread the floor for the two of them. Okoro, I believe in his spot-up shooting. I think he's going to be good enough on catch-and-shoot looks to hold his own offensively. And at that point, you just need as many defenders, high-quality defenders around Trae Young as possible because you're not going to get that from him at the point of attack. So you slide him in, potentially maybe opens up the door for moving John Collins. If you're not sold on giving him the extension he's going to be looking for, you could flip him to get some more assets. So I really love that Okoro pick at number 6.
How did you guys feel about Okoro? Because I know when I first started diving into Okoro, obviously the first thing you see is the shooting, right? And then when you see that he can't shoot, you get discouraged. You're like, all right, he can't shoot. You need to shoot in the league. But then, I think I talked about you with this, Nate, on your show. Like, someone told me, all right, so just forget about the shooting, just watch everything else. And then you're like, you watch. If you just forget for the shooting for 1 second, and then you watch everything else. He's like, okay, he's pretty damn good at everything else, like as far as slashing and just his physique and his the way he plays defense, the way he can get in you, how smart he is as a defender, right? And all that.
Because he gives effort, man. A lot of it's just pure effort. Like he's going to try a lot harder than a lot of the other guys.
His motor is on 1,000. So you add that with being an athletic person and then the defense he provides. That's pretty good.
He has some hints of like a Golden State Andre Iguodala. He's very smart, can make good reads in the half court when it comes to making the right passes and knowing when to slash. But if he can develop that shot, that's going to really take his game to another level. And he could be that star wing that a lot of people see him projecting out to be.
He's a Swiss Army knife for sure on a good team.
Yeah. How you feel about him, Max?
I love him. I'm not that I'm downplaying that his jump shot has issues, because it does. But a lot of these young prospects don't have the most refined jump shot, like entering the league. So I think, like you said, you look at another aspect of his game and you're like, wow, like he has a lot of upside. So I think with the right development, with the right persistence, with the right effort and coaching, I think I'm not saying he's going to be Klay Thompson, but I'm saying that I think he'll be respectable to the point where it's not going to be as big as an issue it is now. So I don't let that lower his stock as much. Just because of all the other intangibles that he has, to your guys' point.
Agree. Okay. So we got Isaac going to the Hawks. To me, that's a perfect fit for Atlanta. Exactly what they did. All right. So we got Detroit. All right. I'm with the Detroit Pistons. Man, this was tough, but I'm gonna go with the best talent on the board for me, and I'm gonna go with Obi Toppin here. Out of Dayton. To me, the most offensively ready player in this draft. He's just what he can do offensively. He's so gifted scoring, his athleticism and all that. I know the defense is a real concern, and someone mentioned today is like for a guy that's such a freak athletically, like he's so stiff. He's so stiff defensively, like he moves so robotically, and it's like but and it kind of reminds me of some Amari stuff, like as far as that, but what he can bring to you immediately. And like you said, Detroit is another team that they just need guys right now. They need to add some spark and add some juice to that team. And I think he can come in. He can be one of their best players off the jump and just provide the spark and be an instant impact scorer for them. So I'm going to give them Obi Toppin to Detroit right here.
He's a sure thing. Detroit just needs as many sure things as
exactly.
Right now.
They just need NBA basketball players.
Yes.
Yes. That they do. Right. Who's their best player? I mean, Drummond got traded with Derrick Rose. Like,
yeah.
Depends what Blake comes back.
Blake
healthy.
Christian Wood would be their best player, right? As of last year.
Yeah, he's probably going to get paid somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, they just need talent. They need talent.
Definitely.
All right. So Toppin's off the board, and now the New York Knicks are on the clock.
You got to screw this pick up. It's only right.
You don't know
pick out your 26 prospect right now.
Oh my God. You don't know how, like, I had a dream about, no joke, I'm not even lying. I legit had a dream that they took some random guy that's ranked in the 60s and they took him with the 8th pick, which is not a crazy thing. They've done crazier things than that. But I'm like, I woke up in like cold sweats. I'm like, oh no, this day's stressful as is. And then they're going to do something crazy like this. I'm just like, oh my God.
Don't do Leon Rose like that, man. I'm a Temple guy.
No, I believe
Rose like that.
We talked. I believe in Leon. I hope. I don't think he's gonna pull no stunt like this. But Chris, you got the pleasure of having the New York Knicks. So just be ready for the virtual boos and all that. No matter who's the pick, you're gonna get booed.
The New York Knicks select Tayal Maladon. No, I'm just playing.
No, that's the accurate pick.
Oh my God,
that's the Knicks pick.
They would go crazy. Just the simple fact that he's from France and he reminds people of Frank Ntilikina, they would just go crazy. Even though he's not even the same player as Frank. The fact that he's French,
right.
They would just go crazy. But
no, seriously, the Knicks select number 2 on my board, Devin Vassell, Florida State.
Wow, that's a steal then for you.
Big Vassell person. The Knicks, of course, they're another team that just needs good players, needs some shooting. Of course, you have Barrett, you have Robinson, you got some good young pieces. You bring Vassell in. To me, he's a high floor, high ceiling prospect. That at the very least you're getting a very good 3-and-D player. And I believe playing at Florida State, a very equal opportunity offense, didn't have many sets ran for him, and he still was nearly averaging 13 points per game. I believe in his shot creation abilities moving forward, and I think he'll be able to put on some weight and form into possibly becoming a star player. I think he's somebody that will look back 5-6 years from now. He could be that guy that was a Paul George type that develops into a star.
Wow, that's music. That's music to my ears. That's music to my ears. You don't got to tell me twice about that. But yeah, I like Vassell a lot. And I know, especially Knicks fans, they went absolutely crazy when they saw that 5-second clip of him, shooting that 7-second clip. Yeah, pulling, trying to work on his shot, and they fell off the Vassell wagon. But to me, if that's the pick, I think a lot of Knicks fans would be happy because he's kind of a Tibbs player too. Like the defense he's going to provide, and like I said, 3-point shooting is definitely needed on this team. So I think that's a good pick for the Knicks for sure. How you guys feel about Vassell?
I like him.
Love him.
I like him. Yeah, I like his game. I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think that's a good pick. I would have went with a more dynamic guard, in my opinion, to help benefit RJ Barrett. I'm pretty high on Tyrese Halliburton or like an RJ Anderson, but I think Devin Vassell works as well.
I think he fits perfect with Mitch and RJ.
Yeah, would not be upset
if his shot falls, which I think it will. I believe in his shot.
Agreed.
If he's not a good shooter, that's not going to go well with RJ and Mitch.
No, not those non-shooters. They definitely need the shooting, to add to those non-shooters. So, I mean, Vassell would definitely be a great pick for sure. So, I'd definitely be happy with that. All right, so we got Devin Vassell off the board to the Knicks. Up, we got the Washington Wizards are on the clock. Max, who's the pick?
All right, so spoke to John Wall. Him and Bradley Beal worked it out. They're going to be good. Bradley Beal says he's able to say, we figured it out. We're not trading him. So considering that I have that in the back court, they're getting along great. This is going to probably not be controversial, but I'm a little higher on him than I would say most people. So I was juggling between two. I'm going with Jaden McDaniels from Washington. I'm very high on Jaden McDaniels. So Jaden McDaniels to me reminds me of, now everyone, when you see a quick lanky guy that's athletic, everyone's like, oh, it's a Kevin Durant. It's like, no, let's pump the brakes. I'm not saying he's Kevin Durant, but what I'm saying, I think he reminds me of a more offensive-minded Jonathan Isaac. And I could see him having a little more offensive promise. He's really good defensively. So I have John Wall. I have Beal on the backcourt. I think he can guard your best player. He doesn't need the ball. And he can run the floor and move his feet exceptionally well. And you develop him with those guys. The way he did it, and now the spacing, the speed of the game, I'm taking Jay McDaniels. I really like his game.
Okay. And you know what? I believe something like this is going to happen in this draft, where someone's going to take one of these high upside guys, because there's a bunch of them in this draft that may have struggled in in the year of college or whatever overseas, but they see the talent, because there's no doubt that Jaden McDaniels is probably a top 5-10 talent. We're just talking about his talent, right? He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, so the talent's there. He just he went through what he went through in college, and like I talked to you, Chris, on shows, and Nate, we see a lot of these guys that kind of struggle to adapt to that college, but their game may be more suited to the pros than it is in college, because we all know how college is, and the system. You got to play the system, playing against zone, and everything's slowed down. And a lot of these guys just need to go. So in the NBA, you're going to just be able to go, and especially for Jaden, if he's playing with Beal and if Wall's back to what whatever he is, 80%, 90%, 100%, they like to play up and down. That might be perfect for him. Add Hachimura to that. I mean, that's someone, he could be, a steal for someone, because he has the talent. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden goes in the lottery at all. How do you guys feel about Jaden?
Love the fit. I think the fit's phenomenal. If you're high on him, that's fine. But he's a late first rounder for me, so that's why that was a big reach. But hey, I mean, I like the fit. I'm not going to complain there. And I do think, the reason why he's late first round for me, I think he's got a really, really low floor, but I think he's got a pretty high ceiling. So I think, he could be a home run.
It was him or Patrick Williams. I like Patrick Williams from Florida State. I think he's more of a guaranteed fit right now. But yeah, to your point, I'm taking the ceiling.
I like the Jaden fit over Patrick Williams because I like Rui.
Oh, right. That's a good one.
And I don't think Pat and Rui would have fit at all.
I mean, my only potential qualm. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Swing for the fences in this kind of draft. So it's not like you're spending a top 5 pick on McDaniels. It's the 9th pick. If that's a guy you really like and think he can become something, why not go for him?
Exactly. Especially in this draft, I think that's, like we said, they're going to see a lot of guys going earlier than we might anticipate. But Jaden McDaniels off the board to the Washington Wizards. All right, we got the 10th pick, and we got the Phoenix Suns on the clock. We just saw that they made a huge deal to get Chris Paul to the team, so they made a big splash. So Phoenix Suns on the clock. Zach, who's the pick?
Yeah, so I'm extremely ecstatic for this pick. I can't believe he fell this far to me. I have him as a top 5 guy. Onyeka Okongwu, it's a no-brainer. I want him to start. I would have loved him in Washington. I thought he was the pick for Washington. But, I mean, I'm not going to complain with him falling to me. I think he's the perfect backup for Ayton. I'm going to be really depressed if Okongwu gets put in this situation because I think he's going to end up looking like Mo Bamba, which is a pretty big bust right now if he doesn't get his at least 25 minutes a game.
Yeah. Yeah, Onyeka is definitely would be a good pick for Phoenix here. How do you guys feel about Onyeka?
Needs his time, though. His time.
I like it. To his point, needs his time.
I'm surprised he slid this far.
Yeah.
You just need guys who can defend. That's going to be the Phoenix Suns' biggest question, right? And I think all of us would say that Okongwu is one of the better defenders in the entire draft class. So absolutely brings that versatility. I'm not going to rule out that he couldn't play with DeAndre Ayton for decent-sized stretches, only because Ayton's actually flashed enough mid-range shooting for sure. And I think that this year I'm confident he's going to be able to start bombing some of those three-pointers and spread the floor. So I like the pick a lot. And yeah, that's what Phoenix needs. They need defense.
If they can get Okongwu too, they don't need to bring back Baines. So it might be a little cheaper for them.
Yeah, Baines is a free agent. Yeah. That's a good point.
That would be a huge luxury because then they can spend money elsewhere and in other parts of the rotation. So
Ayton can get that three down. I think they can play together.
Yeah, and he started doing that in the bubble too, and that was scary. I was like, oh. Once he expanded out there, I was like, DeAndre Ayton's coming.
That's the talent. That's the talent. That's why everybody loved him coming out of his draft class.
Exactly. Yeah. So that could be a nice front court there with those two big guys. All right. So we got a combo going to Phoenix. So, Zach, you're back on the clock. San Antonio Spurs in the lottery. We haven't seen this. We don't see this a lot. So, we got San Antonio.
So, I want to go fit here. I really do, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go best available because San Antonio needs upside. I think they're for sure going to ship DeMar out, and they're going to try with LaMarcus. But there's a bit of a log jam at the guard spot. Derek White, Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray. I'm going another guard. I got to go my best available here. I just think his ceiling's incredibly high, and that's Tyrell Terry.
Love him.
I think he's perfect next to DeJounte or Derek White, but
Pop in his corner.
DeJounte's tall, right?
Yeah, with Pop in his corner, that's scary. That's scary, and that's what San Antonio needs. They need that dynamic three-point type of shooter. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, they definitely need a little bit more dynamic and guys on that team for sure. Because the team's it's different. Pop's got to be able to adapt a little bit because this team is definitely different from those even the Kawhi days and the Tim Duncan.
Sure.
Days. So definitely adding Tyrell.
Move the job to the three. He's long.
So yeah, that's a good pick for sure. I definitely like that pick. All right, so Tyrell Terry is off the board. San Antonio, a team that we don't see in the lottery a lot, so interesting to that. All right, so we got the Sacramento Kings on the clock. Max, who's the pick?
This is really interesting. I like De'Aaron Fox. Buddy's an interesting situation with Buddy right now. Guys, some of you guys stole some of my picks. So going back to the drawing board, I'm going to continue to add a shooter. He could be one of the best shooters in the draft. I'm pretty high on him. I like his game. I'm going to go with Aaron Nesmith from Vanderbilt. I like his game, knockdown shooter. Yes. Just add that, like you guys talked about, the new day and the NBA 2020. If we keep Buddy Hield with De'Aaron Fox with a knockdown shooter, can't stop the drive because we got shooters on the perimeter. I think that would just add another dynamic piece to the puzzle.
Man, he's probably between him and Bane, those are the two best shooters in this draft.
I think Terry's got a chance, and I really like Bane's shot as well.
Yeah, I like Tyrell Terry's shot.
Yeah, I mean those are the three best shooters in this draft, and Naismith was just lights out. Even though it was not in as many games, but he could definitely shoot it from deep. So
yes,
that'd be a good pick for Sacramento for sure.
If they take him, it'll make it so much easier to ship Buddy's ass out of here.
Oh yeah, that's gonna let you know what's up.
Oh yeah. He's just the size too, right? He has everything you want in a wing. Everything you want in a wing. So definitely a good pick. All right, Naismith off the board. We got New Orleans on the clock. Chris, who's the pick?
Sir.
Who's going to help Zion? Who's going to help Zion?
All right, well, based off how the boards fell, we're going with this is going to be, in some people's eyes, it might be a reach, but we're going for the ceiling play. I'm taking Alexei Pokusevsky out of circle.
Wow.
Poku.
I like it.
Poku.
Going to take
Okay.
Poku. You have
The
Zion.
upside.
I feel like the big that's playing with Zion needs to have the ability to spread the floor and shoot and let Zion work the inside. And I think Poku could be that guy that does that. He also adds nice help side rim protection. And I think for Zion to be his best self, he needs to be that small ball type of 5. So you're going to be playing lineups with Poku at the 4 and Zion at the 5. It's the ceiling play. It could be a special front court if Poku gets some weight, continues to get stronger, and just develops into the player that I think he can be.
I need to see Zion run right through Poku.
I think my biggest question to you, Chris, with making that pick is how quickly do you think Pokusevsky can get on an NBA floor? Right, I think he's a guy that you need to be patient with. People want to see him add weight, but being 7 feet tall, you can't just add a crap ton of weight and then expect him to all of a sudden magically keep moving the same way that he did and not have any health concerns. So how quickly would you want him to develop, or are you not concerned about that at all? You'll let him still continue to play overseas for a few years and then bring him over?
I would say I'm not really trying to force it. I would like to give him a couple seasons to develop and gain some weight and stuff. Now, if he comes over and you feel like he can play, he goes out there and makes an impact earlier than you expect, then that's more power to you. That's kind of like the Giannis effect. Giannis, Bucks didn't expect him to have the impact he had early on as much as he did, and then that just kind of let the world know, okay, like they might really have something here. So the same thing kind of happens with Poku. Then the Pelicans really hit on this one, but I wouldn't force it. I would.
That's the right answer. That's the good answer. Then I sign off for the pick.
Yeah. The upside is there could be something there. Like, and I'm not saying he's Giannis too, but it was kind of like what they what Giannis went through. Like he was playing against I think I was listening to the podcast today with Woj, and he was like he's playing against guys that probably have 9 to 5s, and are just playing here just for fun, like the YMCA league. After you do your 9 to 5 shift and you just want to shoot the hoops. That's the guys Giannis is playing against, and that's kind of what Poku was going against. So not saying
on the guys that play at the YMCA, man, they can ball.
There's some YMCA legends out there. Shout out to all the legends out there, but that's who he was playing against.
The 5 a.m. club. There you go. Shout out to
the guys who work at 12-hour shifts and just want to hoop. That's who Poku and Giannis were playing against. So
either Poku or the center out of Maryland,
Jalen Smith.
Nasty. That's gained a lot of buzz. That pick has gained a lot of traction. I think it could happen.
I think he could be the best defensive player in the draft. I think he's right up there.
Wow.
One of them. Yeah.
No. Well, you just took my pick, because guess who I'm going with Boston? I'm going with Jalen Smith.
That's great.
That to me is
the struggles they had against Bam.
Exactly, and that's exactly why I think they're going to trade the pick, because I think they got 3 first-round picks. I think they trade, but if they stay put, to me, I would take Jalen Smith. He's we saw, like you said, you saw what happened with Miami. They were struggling with Bam and all that size, right? Dice is, he's a good, solid role player, but they got to upgrade. Cantor is probably not going to be there. They got to upgrade. Robert Williams is still, we don't know what Robert Williams. So to me, you get Jalen Smith, who's an athletic big man who can, rim protect and all that, and has solid shooter too. Like I think he can expand that too. So that's something you can get with down the line too. So to me, Jalen Smith, I love Jalen Smith. He's right. This is right where I have him too on my board. So to me, this is perfect.
No brainer.
Boston would, if Boston stays here, I think this should be a no-brainer pick for them if he's still available at 14. So yeah, I'm gonna go Jalen Smith here.
I like it. 100% agree.
Yeah, I think it's just one of the perfect fits for me in this draft. Was Jalen Smith in Boston. So all right, we're done with the lottery. So we got the Orlando Magic on the clock. And Nathan, who's the pick?
Come on, man.
I'm very torn. I'm incredibly torn because I want to make the upside splash with one of the two guards that I would probably rather take for a home run play over this guy. But I can't do it. I can't do it because
Orlando needs you.
Or Orlando has Markelle Fultz, and I'm still a Markelle Fultz guy.
They'll need another guard.
I still believe in Fultz. They do need another guard. I'm going with another guard, but Fultz needs someone who can help him and who's also going to allow Fultz to play to his strengths with the ball in his hands. So I'm going to go with Halliburton. I'm going to go with Tyrese Halliburton. This team can't fall further than this. Okay. He literally can't fall. He's the smartest player in the draft. He can operate on ball as well as off ball. He can share ball handling duties in Orlando. We see all these great teams have multiple ball handlers in their backcourt, guys who can make decisions and keep the ball moving on offense, especially when you have so many guys on Orlando already who don't necessarily create and operate with the ball in their hands. They're such a forward and big oriented team. So
I like that.
What better way to complement all those other guys and let Markelle Fultz still continue to develop as Markelle Fultz than to put Halliburton there?
That's a fair title for him, the smartest player in the draft. The only other guy, I would give it to Killian Hayes.
I like that. Peyton Pritchard's pretty smart.
I have Hayes ranked higher than Halliburton, so I'll give you that one.
The only thing I would say now, I cover the Magic, and I've watched these games. So selfishly, I wanted you to say R.J. Hampton because I feel like
I was thinking that too.
Well, that's a good pick, though. I really like it.
I would love to say R.J. Hampton or the other guy that I want to say that I have number one overall on my board. Don't fall out of your chairs really quick. Cole Anthony. I still have him number one overall on my big board.
Wow!
Don't fall out of your chairs too fast.
I love it. You stuck with him.
He's sticking with. I love it. He's sticking with his guy, no matter what.
He's my guy.
You're the only person I've ever met that has that. So I respect.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be one of those three. I thought when you said slash, it's R.J. Hampton, and so then when you
I would have taken R.J.
I think Hampton would ultimately take the ball out of Markelle Fultz's hands too much, and I'm sorry, I don't want Markelle Fultz just caught up in the corner, so I don't want that. I want Fultz to have the ball in his hands more often than not, and Halliburton allows that to happen. So
okay,
yeah. Just think of R.J. Fultz and Aaron Gordon together. Dunks, baby.
That's dunk contest.
Yeah, that's all right. I got Halliburton. Yeah, I definitely think he's gonna go higher, but if he's there at Orlando, you gotta take him.
You can't let him slide any further.
Yeah, at this point, you just take the best player available, and he's definitely should be, best player available at this point. All right, Halliburton's gone to Orlando, and we have the Portland Trail Blazers on the clock, and that's me.
It's me, right? We're snaking it.
Oh no, we're snaking it. Yeah, I took your pick. I apologize. You have.
I got a good one right here. I'm going to go with Desmond Bane.
You're still ignoring your number one player. What?
I'm the Trailblazers. I'm not going to put him in Portland, man. I'm not trading Dame or CJ. And again, being a GM, you also have to think about fit and smart guys who can fit around those guys, not just in the short term, but also in the long term. Bane's one of the most prepared players coming into this class. I agree. I agree with a lot of guys on Twitter, including good old Spencer Perlman, who says that he's probably the best non-point guard passer in the draft. I actually agree with that to an extent. So in Portland, you need veteran type guys who can keep the ball moving. Obviously, let Dame and CJ do their thing, but make shots and make plays when called upon and hold their own defensively. He's a very tough guy defensively. He's a good rebounder for his size. He's built like a Mack truck at his position, and he's athletic. So I can't see how that pick would fail in Portland. I love that pick.
Nice. I agree.
Nice. Yeah, his shooting too, like how he moves without the ball and all that. I mean, that'll be a.
I'll get up on my soapbox for Cole Anthony at some point. We'll do that when he comes up. I'll get on my soapbox. Don't worry.
I love it though. I love it. All right,
drop.
Drop now, boss.
All right, so we got Minnesota on the clock. So we had Minnesota had the number one pick, obviously.
Don't screw this up, man.
I'm going to try to make you proud here, Zach.
Most important draft of my life.
And we took Anthony Edwards with the number 1 pick. All right, let me get Chris back in here before we. So Anthony,
you're gonna
Edwards,
make me wait.
you're gonna make you wait. All right, gonna make you wait.
Patience is a virtue.
Patience is a
There we
virtue.
go.
Exactly.
There we go.
Patience is a virtue. All right.
I'm next with the Mavs, correct?
Yes, I believe so. No. Let's see. Someone say with the order.
Yeah, you should be next with the Mavs.
Okay, all right.
And
then
then-
the
No,
Mavs.
Chris is then you're
Okay.
you have the Brooklyn pick at 19.
Okay.
Okay, so
Ooh,
Minnesota.
Okay, that switched up some things.
Okay, so Minnesota on the clock. I'm gonna go with Sadiq Bey here, Villanova.
Okay.
I like it. Good shooter.
I want to cry. I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
I was like, my thought process like, man, I got to make Zach happy. Just want Zach to be happy with this draft. So yeah, I'm gonna go Sadiq Bey. He's one of my favorite players in this class. Like I said, good shooter, good size. I think that'd be a good fit with Minnesota. So I'm gonna go Sadiq Bey here.
I have him 12 on my board, and if he drops that far, I will cry tears of joy. He should be in the starting lineup immediately, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's versatile too, right? He can guard multiple positions too, and they could use someone who could defend, so can't go wrong with that. I have him. I think 15th or 16th on my board, so this is right in the area. So definitely would be good if Minnesota would, coming out with Anthony Edwards and Sadiq Bey. That's a good draft, Zach, right?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so Sadiq Bey off the board.
Two starters, I couldn't complain.
All right, if you get 2 stars in this to go with Towns, you're sitting pretty there.
You got a high upside guy,
yeah,
and a high floor guy.
That's what I was thinking.
What he's bringing.
Exactly. All right, so Minnesota off the clock. We got the Dallas Mavericks on the clock, Chris.
Before the Mavs pick, well, who was the Magic and Portland's pick?
The Magic pick
Halliburton
was
and
Halliburton and Bain went.
Halliburton and Bain. Oh, okay. Well, the Mavs love this pick. The Mavericks are taking R.J. Hampton.
That's amazing. That
could be the steal of the draft right there.
Yeah,
That would
there
be
you
the
go.
steal of the draft.
They just keep
Right,
loading
that
up
was
on
gonna be my
talent.
pick. That was going to be my pick. Great
That was
job.
gonna be
We're taking R.J. Hampton. I think
Nathan.
something we saw this past season with the Rockets, you saw James Harden have Russell Westbrook near him, and Russell was able to be his most efficient self, playing more off ball, court space, and attacking. I think that same similar system will benefit Hampton here with playing with Luka and the shooting that the Mavericks have.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's like Rashad said, it's okay to have 2 ball dominant guards now. Like you can have them coexist, and it's even more valuable than ever. I love that pick. I think that's the whole steal of the draft there.
If they can both complement each other, yes. Which RJ and Luka definitely can. So
Right.
Agreed. Yeah, and Dallas might get themselves another star, man. NBA, Dallas is making some moves, right?
Zach said my name. I think you had a question for me.
Oh yeah,
You
Zach,
said he was the biggest steal, and anybody shy of Cole Anthony now better not be the biggest steal.
The situation, all this stuff matters, man. I keep my GM hat on at all times.
That's funny. All right. RJ Hampton goes to the Dallas Mavericks. All right. So we got the Brooklyn Nets on the clock. Max.
Okay. All right. So obviously the Nets are not short of scoring or star power. So there's a lot of guys that I have higher than this athlete right here. But considering that we don't need more star power, we need some two-way players. We need some shooting, some grit, some dog mentality. I'm going to go from the guy from Texas Tech, Jahimus Ramsey. I think he can space the floor, but I think he's a very good defender. Immediately when I see him, I think of Marcus Smart. So I think he has that type. Yeah, he has that type of potential. And so I think, like I said, with KD and Kyrie, I don't need, and possibly James Harden, I don't need someone who needs the ball. I don't need someone that needs to score a bunch of points. I need someone that grit, and I think he'll provide that.
Great pick.
Great pick.
Thank you.
All right, Ramsey. Yeah, Ramsey has that little Marcus Smart in him, right? He's got that moxie and all that. So that definitely, Brooklyn could definitely use a guy like that on the team.
There's some guys that have fallen here in terms of my board. Not.
But this
not
is where the
Cole,
draft gets.
other
This
guys.
is where I love the draft. Is in this area from like 20 to like you can go 20 to like 6 to 80.
There's a lot of good players
where all the
I
guys
know.
can go anywhere. It's kind of crazy.
It killed me to pass up on some of these guys, but if I have the Nets, I don't need some of these guys. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Daramus Ramsey is off the board. We got the Miami Heat. The Eastern Conference champions are on the clock. Zach?
Man, this is where it gets tough.
Yeah, this is tough.
I'm just gonna go best available, and I'm gonna go with Cole Anthony, even though I'd love to see him drop even further for Nathan's sake.
Oh my God, dude, come on!
Hey, this is Nate's #1 player on the board, so this is a steal.
Tell me this, like, if I didn't take him at 20 or 21, would whoever has 22, would you have taken him? How far would a Cole drop? That's what I need to know.
Who's 22?
He wouldn't have slid past 23 if I had the Jazz.
Okay, there. Good to know. Then I'm glad I took him. If I would have known that, I would just kept letting him slide.
So let me ask you a question then, Zach. Why don't you like him? And then I'll get up on myself.
No, I like him. I do.
Okay.
I just think it's crazy. He got him #1, and I don't think his ceiling's that high, and I think he's got a pretty low floor as well. I just think he's kind of a ho-hum guy. I think he can be a very good player. I think he's got like high starter ceiling is really what I'm at for him. But I think taking him anything like above, I could see somebody reaching on him at like 5 or so. But anything past that, I mean, is a little crazy to me.
So I guess why I've defended Cole Anthony so much. I think a lot of people just want to take a look at his season at North Carolina, and that's all they want to look at. They want to look at the numbers. They don't want to put any context behind the numbers, and they don't want to look at the person that Cole Anthony is as well. He's a mature young man. He's the best interview in the entire draft class. If you actually get the chance to listen to him talk, do some interviews, get to know him as a person and how he sees himself. He's a very humble guy. He believes in humility. He comes from a professional background. He's mature. He's a great teammate. Anybody you talk to who's played with him, they rave about him. So off the court, he passes the background check fully. And as I said at the beginning of the show, all of that matters to me because I've learned that you can't overlook any of that stuff when you're making one of these picks. My biggest miss, if Cole Anthony ends up being a miss of mine, fine. My biggest miss of my scouting career is Josh Jackson. I love Josh Jackson because I didn't take the off-the-court stuff seriously enough. It's not a question of his talent. Even when he got his chance to shine in the minutes he was given in Memphis this year, he played a lot of good basketball for them. It's not a question of talent.
Great point. No, that's a
Zach,
good look at it.
you're muted.
You're on the mute. You muted yourself.
I'll defend that Josh Jackson pick to the core, though. I think I had him 4th or 5th in that draft, and I still don't think he had a fair and structured chance in Phoenix. I think all the coaching changes, all the off and on PT he got, I still don't think he got his full, true NBA opportunity for the #3 pick. I think he was. But a lot of that was his fault as well. I mean, he did some off-court stuff. I don't think it was that terrible. But I also think even in Memphis, I don't think he got his full shot because he was improving game after game, and I really believed in him in Memphis yet. And I just kept getting called crazy, but I liked him. I still think he could do something in this league after what he did in Memphis, and I hope they sign him. I hope they give him a chance because I think he's a good two-way player. I do.
I'm all for it. So I mean that covers all the off-the-court stuff, and then on the court for Cole at his size. Tell me what he honestly can't do on a basketball court at his size. Obviously, if you want to tell me, yeah, he's not going to guard some big man down to the damn post, right? Like he's limited because of his size and his length to an extent, but he's competitive on defense and offensively. Tell me what he honestly can't do, or is a question of how well does he do that particular skill?
I hate that's a great way. That's a great way to put it. I think he does a little bit of everything. To your point, I think what I'm curious about is, so where do you see his ceiling? That'd be my
his ceiling in my eyes, and I have not gotten this out of my head, and I can't get it out of my head. I truly see like a Damian Lillard type ceiling for him. I think he can be that great of a scorer, and I think his passing when he's put in the right situation is incredibly undervalued. And that all comes from some of that off the court stuff I mentioned, but his communication skills. He's a leader on the court. He knows how to talk to guys. He knows how to put guys in position when they're able to play with him. His situation in North Carolina. Tell me the other NBA guy we're talking about on that North Carolina team.
Yeah, they were bad.
He was the only guy that can make a three. There was no.
He's the only guy that can make a shot outside of like 15 feet. Period.
Agree.
So he's just you got to take things in context. And again, if I end up being wrong about him, then I end up being wrong about him. And when I rank guys, like when I put a number by them, I'm ranking them because I have to rank them, right? If we're talking about guys that I like, I'd probably just like tier off my top 1 through 10, and I'd evaluate them in that context, not necessarily living and dying by the number I have them by. But if I was asked to make one pick out of this draft class, period, regardless of who I'm drafting for, not having to think about the rest of my team, who I would have around him. If I'm making one pick and I'm taking one guy, it's Cole Anthony, and that's why I have him there.
I think his floor at the very least is Austin Rivers. I see like an Austin Rivers kind of scorer as his floor, somebody that can come out there and
I
get
see more
buckets.
than that.
But
still brings value.
That's still value.
Yeah.
So he's competitive as all hell. He's one of the 4 most competitive guys I'd probably rate in this draft class in terms of pure competitiveness and toughness at his size, pound for pound. So
the problem with me and Cole Anthony, I hate saying this, it just every time I watch him and think about him, it just keeps coming to me, and I can tell the differences because I know Cole's a better defender. I know he's a better passer, but I keep seeing Carson Edwards. And I do think Carson Edwards can still be good in the league if he gets his opportunity. He hasn't gotten his opportunity yet, but it just keeps coming to me. I do think Cole's actually going to get his opportunity, so we're actually going to see what Cole's all about. I got him 10th on my board. Where do the other 3 have him?
He's not in my 10, but one thing.
I have him 11.
Yeah, he's not my 10. I'll let you guys finish first. So
I have him 13th on mine. I have him 13th.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say
athletically, he's in a different class than Carson Edwards.
I love the athleticism.
I agree.
Yeah.
Ceiling-wise, he's got a way higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And where you drafted him to let's just say hypothetically this actually was like the real draft board. If he would have actually filled the Miami Heat, could you imagine having
exactly
that
just
that unit that would really
the ceiling gets higher.
I think the biggest thing about him that people don't like is that I think almost everyone will agree that he could have a star upside, like a crazy high star upside, but people also see the type of floor he can have because of the situation in North Carolina. And I think a lot of people are scared. They don't want to bet that he's going to be better than his floor. And I think that's the whole thing behind Cole Anthony. And if that's why you're making draft picks, if there's any kind of fear in you and making a pick and in your evaluation process, you have that many holes in your evaluation process, should you be a scout? Go by the courage of your convictions, man. Go by where you rank these guys. Go trust your process, trust your eyes, trust what you're doing. I think all you guys do that. Everything I've heard from you guys all know your stuff. You guys trust your own process. So that's to anybody listening out there.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Agree.
Speaking of trusting the process.
21.
Speaking of trusting the process,
I'm a Philly guy.
You got Philly right here. Zach, I think, Zach, you're on the clock again.
Nail this pick.
Yeah, I cannot believe this guy fell to me either. I almost took him at my last pick, but Cole was higher on my board. I went best available. I think this guy's a better fit on Miami before and a better fit in Philly here. Patrick Williams, Florida State. I got him as a top 13 guy. I like him. I just think he's got a really high floor. I don't think his ceiling's incredibly high, but I just think he can do a lot.
I like that. It's a good fit, especially, I mean, there's so many possibilities for Philadelphia right now. So with Embiid and depending on the Simmons, yeah, let's just say some weird reason we get off this live and Harden ends up in Philadelphia, and that's a favorite. I think he fits there, so I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, and that's a good team situation where he can develop. You know, Pat Will, he's a guy that we all see if he pans out is because he develops into the player that we project him to be. And so, you know, Philly's a situation where they have guys who are they're a playoff team, so he can go in there and develop and possibly be that guy that they're not going to always play Horford. So he can step in and take Horford's spot and be playing some four for them.
Yeah. He's versatile too in that aspect too. He can guard multiple positions, and he's another physical freak, athletic freak that you know. And you put him in that team with Doc, you know, and you know Doc's done good with some guys, so some young players. So definitely a good fit, and at this point, you know, definitely worth the pick again. So we got all right, Patrick Williams off the board, and we have Denver, right? Denver's on the clock.
Yeah.
Denver's on the clock, and
team Max. That gets to steal in every draft, so don't screw this up.
Denver's on the clock, Matt.
Is me?
Yep, you're up, Max.
About that. Okay.
All good.
Oh, this is tough. Okay, obviously we know Jamal, we know Jokic. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be the most improved player of the year next year. So I got a young core. I'm going to pick this guy just because I'm really high on him, and he hasn't been picked yet. I mean, there's a couple guys I think may be a better fit. I think I've been doing that throughout the draft. So I'm going to go a talent pick, someone I'm very high on, and that's going to be Kyra Lewis Jr. from Alabama. I think he could be a good spark. Obviously, you don't demand too much of him right now because of who's on your roster. So it kind of could allow him to develop, show his value, and then if he blossoms into something special like I think he can be, that's just another deal that Denver gets. So I'm going to go Kyra Lewis.
Absolute steal.
I'm curious, how high do you guys actually have him on your boards, on your personal boards?
He's high for me. He's top 5 for me. I have him top 5.
Yeah, I think he's top 10, 12-ish for me. Like, I really like him. I think he's dynamic,
17.
Quick twitch, special.
17.
I have him top 18.
So I'm the lowest on him. I have him 25th on my board. I'm the lowest on Kyra Lewis. I see the upside. I see the outcome that you guys are talking about. I definitely see it. But I also see a version of Kyra Lewis who doesn't keep developing as a point guard, and he kind of gets lost in the shuffle. He's one of those young guys that wants to play at one speed. He wants to play fast. I haven't seen him do enough changing speeds and being able to adapt to the game that's in front of him versus trying to force everybody around him to play the game that he wants. Part of that comes with being able to shoot the ball from range with consistency. Part of that comes from being more mature and making your second and possibly even third read when the play breaks down. And again, he's still very young, and that is the benefit that he has on his side. He played 2 years at Alabama, and he's still going to be one of the youngest guys in this draft class. So that he does have time on his side, and I guess you're playing the upside at that point. I don't know how much of an actual point guard that he is. And if we're just drafting a player based on athleticism and potential, we've seen how that's potentially worked out before with other guys. So that's why I have him lower. But I'm not low on him to the point where I don't see the ceiling that you guys do. I can absolutely see it as an outcome.
Well, because I have the Nuggets, I'm like, okay, I have an elite team. We were right there, Western Conference Finals. So that's like when you have the opportunity to take that high risk. And what is Denver? Denver's great in that half-court set. So now if you add someone that can also be a threat in that transition, that fast pace, it's like, man, what
playing in the altitude, he's a fit. That's the big thing. He's a fit for that team where they're playing, period.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm probably a
great value pick right there.
Yeah. If he drops there, I mean that's another good pick for Denver, and they get another steal. Like they've been getting guys like that year in and year out. So that would be. I love Kyra. So that,
Chris, you're the highest on him. Why is he 5?
his game pop. Like I love the speed and all that. I think that he transitions right into the league perfectly, up tempo. And for me as a Knicks fan, that's one of my guys that I would think fit perfect with the Knicks. They need to play faster. They need to play up tempo. Guys like RJ, Mitch love to work, move in transition. To me, 100%. Kyra in New York is a match made in heaven. So that's a spot where I would love for him to go. But maybe I probably higher than most people on, but to me, his game just stands out to me, and I think he could be that. His playmaking improved from freshman year to sophomore year. I just think he's just going to keep getting better, and so that's why I'm just so high on him, and just so maybe higher than most, but to me, he's just one of those guys where you just watch and you just fall in love with, and he's just one of those guys for me. That's why
he's a safe pick.
Yeah, he just pops. He just pops.
He has the speed, so nothing else develops. You at least have a fast point guard who can make plays and transition.
Yeah, he can break down the deep. Yeah, and then if you surround him with some shooters and all that, you break down the defense, kick it out. It could just benefit the whole team. So that's why I've been big on Kyra. So, but if he drops all the way to Denver, man, that's a secret steal.
It's a good, it's a good pick for that team. It's a good pick for that team.
Good pick for them. All right, so we got Kyra off the board. And we got the Utah Jazz on the clock. Yes, I believe that's you. We got who's Utah taking here?
Got a couple people we're looking at based on my board. I'm looking at Robert Woodard and also Grant Riller.
That's your guy.
I think we're gonna go with Robert Woodard. That's why I have just a couple notches higher than Riller. We're gonna go with Robert Woodard, forward out of Mississippi State. Good size, good strength. Can knock down the three, shot 40% from three. Now, he didn't shoot many threes, so it depends if you bought into his shot. But I think he's going to bring toughness, can come out there and just get to work and be just another body, an impact player for Utah. Someone that gets out there, rebounds, plays great defense, just a straight-up athlete, can attack the rim. And he's not necessarily a secondary scorer yet, but there is much more to his scoring game than he got to display in college. He played with guys who were very ball dominant. When you have like Quindary Weatherspoon, Lamar Peters, and then this past season he was playing with Reggie Perry and other guys. So I think he has more to his offensive toolbox than he's displayed. And I think Utah is a place where he can be able to showcase that because they need somebody else who can score.
That's for sure. That's for sure. How do you guys feel about Robert Woodard? Because he's another guy who's kind of been in that 20. I've seen him go in the 20s, but I have seen people have him very low, where that he's late second round and now. So what's your guys' thought? Zach, how you feel about Woodard?
I mean, I understand and makes a lot of good points there, and I mean he's one of those guys that just whatever to me. He doesn't really pop off in any area. I think he can be a really good defender. That's about it.
I think he works in Utah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, he's a guy that fits anywhere, and I think Utah's a great spot for him.
Yeah, if he ends up in a team like a lot of these guys, I feel like it fit truly matters. So, like, if you end up with a team like Utah, being who you're surrounded with, the coaching, just how that program operates on a daily basis, I think that works for him.
Definitely see that. Okay.
Quinn Snyder loves guys who play with a high motor and can rebound. And Woodard can do both of those things, along with all the other things that you can potentially do on an NBA floor. So it's an upside pick. It's not where I have a grade.
Jeremy Grant's possibly leaving, to get paid somewhere. So maybe that fills the hole right there.
Jeremy Grant, Denver,
wrong team. Wow, I thought we were Denver for a second. See, I got my teams mixed up for a second. I was thinking, no, that was the pick before. That's why. My bad. All right, so we're off the board. All right, so we got Milwaukee on the clock. Milwaukee Bucks, a lot of pressure for them. A lot of pressure going. They got to make a lot of moves. So yeah, I got Milwaukee, right? Yep, I got Milwaukee. I'm gonna go Grant Riller here. Gonna go Grant Riller.
Beautiful.
3-level score. Love his ability to get to the hole. Love his scoring ability. They need someone like that. I don't know if Bledsoe is that guy long term. So I think they could use a guy like this that could just score and just help Giannis out a little bit within that aspect. So I'm gonna go Grant Riller. I'm high on Grant Riller. So I think having him here at 24 to me, I think Milwaukee should go Grant Riller here.
I like it.
Definitely.
Like you said, just take the load off Giannis. It's like I feel with all these different teams, there's so many different aspects you could look at. With Milwaukee, we just know it's the Giannis train. So it's like anything to help him and just take some of the load off, you certainly want to look into in draft. So I like it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the wrong person to ask. I have Riller as a second round grade on my board, but with that being said, I suppose the main knock I have on him is that he seems to be more of a tough shot maker than anything else, and not always the most skilled shot maker. But I suppose that's what Milwaukee needs, right? They need a tough shot maker. Period.
I think.
So I suppose the fit actually works.
Yeah, I think Grant Riller may be one of the biggest of the draft. I really believe that. I think Grant Riller could be nasty, and I just think, to your point, a tough shot maker. I always allude to NBA spacing, but like it's a completely different game. So you add a tough shot maker, NBA spacing. I'm not saying he's Fred VanVleet, but I get some flashes of that at times, and I think someone like that can certainly thrive in the NBA. Yeah.
It's probably one of the tougher things to evaluate from a scouting perspective is when you have a guy who thrives and lives off of tough shots in college or overseas, depending on the environment that he's playing in. How much of that are you confident in is actually going to translate into the NBA when you know you're going up against guys who are more athletic, better defenders, smarter guys? How much is going to be able to carry over? I suppose that's my biggest question with Riller, and that's why I've evaluated him as such. But I can absolutely see myself being wrong, and Max, you might be right. You might be right about his shot making ability, so I can see it.
Right, yeah, it's tough to gauge.
Okay, all right. So Riller's off the board. We got Oklahoma City on the clock. They just made a lot of drastic trades, so their team's looking different. No CP3 now, so Oklahoma City's on the clock.
They need home runs.
I believe that's me, right?
That's Nate.
That's me.
Yeah, Nate's on the clock.
So they just traded away 2 point guards. They're going to open the floodgates up completely for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to come in and do his thing. But he still needs somebody next to him. And somebody just said home run pick. I don't know if he's a home run pick, but to me, he's probably the most undervalued player left that I would want to draft. And given the holes that just opened up, I was going to go with somebody else, but given today's events, I'm going to go with Malachi Flynn here.
Okay.
He is one of my bigger sleepers in the draft. He's arguably the best pick and roll playmaker in this draft class, and that's the most important half-court play type in the NBA nowadays is spread pick and roll. He's shown enough three-level scoring ability to definitely hold his own on that front, and I just think he's another smart, competitive guy who's going to come in, do the right things that you ask of him, and he's a mature professional. And given an Oklahoma City Thunder team that's still going to want to compete despite making all these moves, you need to bring in somebody who's ready to step in and make an impact right away. And I think having him next to Shai, both of them still being able to handle the ball, take the pressure off of each other, and cover for their deficiencies. Malachi Flynn's a competitive defender, but obviously it's not going to be a strong suit because of his size. Well, you have Shai with his incredible length and size to be able to cover whichever backcourt spot is going to give him issues the most. So I really love that pick at 25. The other guy I was thinking about, I'm surprised he hasn't been drafted as Josh Green. That was who I was going to go with if they hadn't made these trades today.
Malachi isn't a home run, but it's an extremely smart pick, and I think he's very safe.
Yeah. He says so crafty. He's a crafty dude. Like he's just
a nice single or double.
I love him. I have him 22 on my board, but I struggle with wanting to move him up even higher. I think he's going to be one of those guys that makes us all look stupid.
He's smart and he has a chip on his shoulder. And I really value guys with a chip on their shoulder, something to prove. You add that with smart IQ and, like you said, 3-level score. I love it. I think that's
another great interview, too. Another great interview, another great communicator. And you have to have that. Playing the point guard position, you have to have those things.
It's the quarterback of the NBA. Yeah.
Great playmaker. Yep. Agreed on that. So Malachi Flynn off the board. Nate, you go again. You got the Boston Celtics.
I'm going to take Josh Green here. I thought about if Chris had not selected Jalen Smith at number 14, I would have definitely went Precious Achiuwa here because I think Precious is one of the most underrated defenders in the draft class. He could end up being the best defender out of this draft class because he's a 1 through 5 potential guy. Obviously, we have offensive questions, but defensively, I don't really have many concerns about him whatsoever. But Josh Green's the pick here. Obviously, we're talking about upside. Danny Ainge loves upside. He also loves wings. And what better way to add to his collection of wings that he always seems to have than to go out and get another tough, hard-nosed, competitive defender. Probably is going to be able to guard the 2 through 4 in the NBA in time, possibly even shut down some point guards. And I believe in his spot-up shooting ability. What he can do off the dribble is a big question mark, but playing in Boston next to so many other shot makers doesn't have to take on a lot of those responsibilities. He can come in, do what he's best at, and get those minutes to be able to develop his game further. And he's one of the more elite athletes in the class, so I can't let him slip any further than this.
And he fits the culture. Two-way player.
Yeah.
Like you said, tough. You think of Jaylen Brown. Yeah, that's a great pick.
He's another Danny Ainge pick. So
agreed. I like it.
Yep, definitely a good pick. All right. So we got the New York Knicks on the clock, and I get to choose for the New York Knicks. So we we gave him Vassell at 8. Man,
Maladon's still available, man.
I can't do that to my. I can't do that.
Get him.
I can't do that to them. They're gonna kill me. They would legit kill me. Zoom kill me. They'll try to figure out to hack my stuff.
There's a great name on the board that has not been picked, and I don't want to see him fall any further than this. There's a great name left. I want to see if you nail this one.
This is tough.
I think I know what you're talking about here.
This is definitely tough. Oh man, this is tough. But I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna go maybe a little bit outside the box here. I'm gonna go with the shooter. I'm gonna go with Peyton Pritchard here. They need shooting.
Knicks just need good players.
Good players, and they need shooting. And Peyton Pritchard could do that. And I'm
surprised you didn't pick Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, I know.
Isaiah Joe. How has nobody picked Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, come on, man. Come on. Just because you're not rooting for it.
You're right. Should have gone Mac, but I'm gonna go with Pritchard. I'm gonna stick with Pritchard.
Yeah, he was gonna fall to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pritchard. He's another guy that I just love a lot. Those matchups against Arizona this year. Going at it, with and Green.
Who's got the Lakers? We're just trying to set up the clutch connection.
I think. I'll go Pritchard here with the Knicks pick.
Smart players.
Yeah, another smart player. The Knicks need smart players too, and that they
he's an NBA player.
And he could shoot. So that's with RJ Barrett and all that, they need to surround them with shooters and all that. So I'll go Pritchard. I mean, Maxey that's tough. But I'm not as high on Maxey as most people are too. So
I'm not either. I have him 16th on my board, and I thought that was disrespecting him, given some other people where they have him.
But,
yeah, so about the same range. So
yeah. All right. So we got Pritchard off the board. All right. So we got OKC's back on the clock since they made the trade. They traded Dennis Schroeder to the Lakers, so they have the Lakers pick now. So OKC's on the clock.
Oh, that's right.
All right. For
OKC,
we just spoke
got
up.
OKC. Maxey?
We just spoke him up. Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Maxey doesn't fall no more. We spoke, about taking a risk. I mean, he's a guy. He's all over the place with many people's boards. Some people have him in the lottery. Some people have him late.
He's another guy. Yep.
I think it's good value to take him this late for OKC. Like you said, they just traded Schroeder. So, he's somebody that can come in and try to be that microwave scorer for them, and he could possibly be something more. So why not take a risk? It's the late first round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just works so hard. So lucky. He just works so damn hard. And I don't want to bet that hard against somebody who is out to literally prove you wrong every single day of your life. So that's a great pick.
Right.
Yeah, especially this late. Especially this late for sure. All right, Maxey's off the board finally. So we got Toronto. Toronto's on the clock. So we got Toronto. Max, who you got?
All right, one of the other key guys I have in this draft.
Well, aren't we with the Lakers? Or
the Lakers traded the pick.
Yeah, they passed. Tyrese Maxey is with OKC.
OKC. They
Schroeder,
traded
yeah.
from the Schroeder
So is this pick 28 then?
29.
This is 29.
29.
It's 29, yeah.
What did
Yeah,
I
yeah.
miss?
I snaked, so I had 25 and 26.
So 29
the La-
Toronto. I'm sorry, keep going.
29 Toronto, yeah, because the Lakers were 28.
Yep.
But they traded the pick with in the Schroeder trade.
I thought I had 29 and 30, and I'm on 28, so I don't know. Whatever. Go for it.
All right, Toronto. I am drafting a junior from Arkansas, and that is Mason Jones.
Beautiful.
I'm really high on Mason Jones. I think he's a big guard, hit the three-level scorer, could be a spark, and with Raptors are fantastic at developing players. I think they're a top 5 3-point shooting team in the league. So I think he fits right in there. Add another piece to the puzzle. So Toronto, Mason Jones.
Yeah, if you love Grant Riller, you're gonna at least like Mason Jones. They're very similar players. So
no, good pick. And then he goes to Toronto, like you said. They develop guys, crazy. So that's definitely a good pick.
Get all the juice out you.
Exactly right. They get the most out of their guys, especially guys that either are late first rounders or undrafted guys like Fred Van. Look what they got out of Fred VanVleet, who was undrafted, right? And everyone thought that Clay Anthony Early was going to be the guy from Wichita State, not Fred VanVleet. And of course, the Knicks drafted him. Yeah. So all right. So this is the last pick of the draft. Boston's on the clock. Zach, you close out the first round.
Dang, and I thought I was going to have 2 to end it and get both my guys, so now it comes down between them. 2 big guys, really tough pick. Who went to Boston at 14? Oh, you got Jalen Smith already.
So
okay.
Josh Smith went 26, and then with their 14th pick was Jalen Smith.
So this is between 2 guys. I'm going with Precious. The other guy was going to be Daniel Arturo, but I'm going with Precious here, just because
bulk up their defense big time with these 3 guys.
Yeah, and he fits right into the brand too. Fits right into Boston's brand again. Yet again, another 2-way player, run the floor. Good pick.
Yeah, and like you said, they're gonna need if they stay put, and let's say we're not including trades and all that, trading up, trading out. They need size to get with Miami. We saw what they struggle though. So just add as much size as possible. If they add guys like this, man, that could possibly get them over the hump because the size was the biggest issue against Miami. So you add these, especially Jalen Smith, and you add Precious, man. I mean that could possibly get you over the hump because they have the offensive firepower as is. So you're
adding speed with that size too. You're not lacking speed. Somebody that can switch and be able to hold their own on the perimeter, and that's what it's all about. Is a big in the NBA being able to have that switchability.
Mm-hmm. Agree on that. So Boston will definitely come out here looking good. So all right, so that concludes the first round mock draft portion of the show. So who are you guys surprised did not get selected in the first round? Zach?
Yeah, I'll say the 3 biggest steals of the first round were very clear to me. Number 10 Onyeka, number 18 RJ Hampton, and then number 20 Cole Anthony. I think all those guys should have gone way higher. In my mind, they're all way higher on my board. But I mean, they're all great fits as well. The other guys that are great picks that they're semi-steals in my estimation were Vassell at 8, Sadiq Bey at 17, and then Kira Lewis at 22.
And who are you shocked that did not go in the first round?
Honestly, I wasn't really shocked about anybody. I think the only guys that I don't have first rounders that were taken would be Woodard. I have Mason Jones, Woodard, and Pritchard. Yeah, that'd be it.
Okay.
Probably one of those Boston picks is going to be made on an international player. I think
Bolmaro,
if they don't trade one of those picks, so yeah, Bolmaro is probably.
I feel
the one
Bolmaro is a very Boston-like pick.
Not that I don't have him as a first-round grade on my board, but I think he's going to go in the first round to somebody who wants a draft and stash with upside. So
you Chris, could probably say LaMelo at 3 might have been a steal
as a possible Joe Ingles replacement down the road.
Yep.
Chris, who you got? Give me a few steals, and then give me some guys you thought maybe should have gone in the first round.
Steals wise, I'm definitely I'm thinking my pick with Hampton with the Mavs at 18. Cole Anthony is someone else I think will possibly be a steal, and let's see, just going down, and Kyra Lewis.
That might be number one for me. Yeah.
I think he might be the top steal. I'm very high on Kyra Lewis as well.
Max, who's your steal? Who's won a couple of steals, and who's guys you surprised didn't go in round one?
I kind of agree with that. I mean, I think we all agree RJ Hampton going to the Mavs is just nasty. So I think if the Mavs
such a perfect fit.
Yep.
I do. I'm happy I had Kyra Lewis with Denver, so I'm not complaining. But if it happened in the real world, I'd be like, wow, Denver really just got Kyra Lewis Jr.
Yeah.
And then again, Tyrese Maxey, even though I'm the highest on him, potential, tons of upside. So if he were to fall all the way down to 20, I mean, that's pretty built in my book. But as far as surprise draft, no, nothing really pops up to me. I'm kind of high on Isaiah Joe. I think he's going to be a good NBA player or lanky.
I have him as a first round grade. Yep.
Yeah. So Isaiah Joe, I know. We drafted Precious Achiuwa though, so that's pretty much it. Isaiah Joe. I know some people are pretty high, good solid big in the NBA. But other than that, I think should be drafted in the first round. Got drafted in the first round.
Yep. Nate, who'd you steal? Who's some of your surprised it didn't go in round one?
I don't really have anybody that surprised me. They didn't go in round one. Probably the guy that I had highest ranked on my first round. My top 30 that didn't go was Isaiah Stewart out of Washington. I think sometimes people forget about him. They want to classify him as this aged big man prospect because he wanted to post up and do a lot of his damage back to the basket at Washington. But he's also flashed at a really pretty jump shot for a big man that's probably going to extend out to the 3-point line. And I think that's a bankable skill that he's going to have in his pocket coming up to the next level. And if he can bring that along with all the other things he does on the boards and defensively, I think he could be a great value pick for somebody in the second round if that's where he goes. And then probably biggest steals were, guys, Precious Achiuwa and Tyrese Maxey, 2 guys I have as top 16 grades on my board who ended up free falling, which to their teams that get them, those would be incredible value picks where they fell. So.
Great draft, guy.
Yeah. And Kyra Lewis going to going that late to me is a steal. Like I said, I'm very high on Kyra, and also Maxey going to OKC would be a steal. And like I said, as far as surprises, this draft, it's not really much surprises here. We're
prepared for whatever.
Exactly.
Nobody will be surprised.
We're prepared for everything.
I'm not going to call Cole Anthony a steal either because this is pretty much where he's projected to go at this point. Nobody in the league apparently likes him. So you know what? He's just going to go and prove everyone wrong.
For you, that's the biggest steal.
For me, that's that would always be the biggest steal. But you know what? He's just going to go out there and prove everyone wrong. So
yes. All right. So one more topic before we sign off. All right. So give me some sleepers, guys. Give me some guys that people aren't really talking about in this draft. Some deep sleepers that you guys really like.
I got you. I'm sorry. You can go first.
Yep. Max, you go, Max.
Yep. Go for it, Max. Let me think about this one.
All right. Like Jalen Harris from Nevada.
Good one.
Jones, Jaden McDaniels. I'm looking at my list here. Yeah, Elijah Hughes from Syracuse. He's a junior. I know someone.
He's a good one.
I know someone who watched him grow up and coached him, and he said, back to your point, Nathan, high character guy. He said he's an hard worker, great kid, and I think he could be a really good, extremely explosive. I like Tyler Bay from Colorado, and then I'm looking down my list here, and I'm pretty sure I got most. CJ Ellerby is one that the lefty. I like him. Be a good player. Those would be my steals that I think aren't getting a lot of the attention. We talked about Grant Riller already because I'm pretty high on Grant Riller as well. But I think those would be my sleepers. And Tyrell Terry, I think, is getting a lot more buzz. So I don't think he's really.
Can I just say that from top to bottom in this class, this is one of the most high character draft classes I think we've potentially ever had. Like, who's really the guy that you hear about in this class who could potentially be trouble off the court? I don't hear any names. It's what, LaMelo with the dad stuff, or that he might be a little too cocky. Is that it? Stuff. Like, every kid who's been a star since he was 13 is going to be cocky. So like that doesn't surprise me. But I don't consider that as a major character flaw. I still think LaMelo's a good kid. So that's what really stands out to me about this entire class.
Right. It's a great point. To that extent, though, I've been saying this the last, 3-4 years now, that these players just keep getting more mature every year. Yep. More mature, more well-spoken. I mean, that's just the day and age we're in. The more famous these guys get, the more pressure's on them, and the more intelligent agencies get, and that's just how it's going.
A lot of these kids have been playing on ESPN since they're 15. I mean, look at we just saw, they had a bunch of high school games where you got Mikey Williams and you got Amani Bates and Chet Holmgren. These guys are 16 years old and they're already in the spotlight. So they're prepared, way more prepared than they were, back in the day. So these guys are. For LaMelo, this is nothing. Like the pressure, there's no pressure. Like he's been dealing with it for forever. So
no. But to that point, I don't think it's something we should expect. I think it's just something that we should, cherish. I think it's pretty respectable, I guess you could say, that these guys take the time to actually care and listen. They don't have to be these high character guys. They're putting in the time. So it's pretty impressive to me.
Great. No, agree. Chris, we got some sleepers?
Some sleepers, of course, our guy, Sam Merrill, someone who I believe should be,
that's my guy. That's
top 25 guy. I love Sam Merrill, his shooting ability. He's ready to step on the court and produce on offense for an NBA team, any NBA team, whatever system.
He fits
I'm
every
also
system.
big on Paul Reed. I like Paul Reed.
I
think he's somebody that a team can take a chance on. Has good. A very good all-around defender, can shot block and play on ball and post. And has a skill set that you can refine and develop. People talk about trying to refine Precious Achua's offensive skill set and what he brings to the table. Paul Reed is another big like that I think could, with the right system, right development, grow into something offensively as well with what he brings on deep.
No, priority second rounder for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Paul Reed a lot. So Nate, did you give some sleepers out?
Yeah, two. I didn't yet, but two names that are definitely deeper sleepers in this particular class. Nate Hinton out of Houston. I love that kid. That kid is tough as nails. Does everything you want him to at his size. He is absolutely going to get a contract, and he deserves one. Another guy, Paul Ebois, Cameroonian forward. He is one of the athletic freaks in this class that nobody talks about. Just go watch like 2 minutes of tape on him, and you're like, holy shit, who's this kid? But I think he's got a very raw game. I actually, in my mock on my podcast, I had the Raptors actually taking a shot on him, and I think that's one of those Masai Ujiri picks that you're just going to bet purely on upside. But I'm not saying he's going to have the same development path as Pascal Siakam, but that's another one of those like value type picks that you're looking at, guy who could have ridiculous upside that no one knows about unless you really did your homework. So those are two names for me.
Zach?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with three Minnesota guys nobody mentioned. Trey Jones, Zeke Naji, and Daniel Arturu. I actually really believe in all of them, not just because I'm a Minnesota guy. But I really believe that if they get their opportunity, they can shine. I mean, Zeke and Arturu, I mean, they're two really interior scoring guys, really good rebounders. I think they got much higher upside from a three-point shot and defense than people make it out to be. Trey Jones has just got an extremely high floor, so he is what he is. I just think overall that people in general, they overrate age so much, whether it's guys like Marcus Howard, Miles Powell, stuff like that. Even Emmanuel Quickly, just because he's a sophomore, just stuff like that. I think age is one of the most overrated factors in the draft.
He's a grandpa in Kentucky. He's a sophomore.
Yeah, right.
Well, look at Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill is almost 25. He's closer to 25, so like that's crazy. Like
Zeke Naji is the best name that we've talked about in the sleepers that out of everyone's mentioned. I think he actually goes first round. Yeah. After the workouts he had that have been
offensive potential is there too. I like the offensive potential there.
Yeah, another great interview.
Yeah, another great interview. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely like those picks for sure. But guys, this was fun. I appreciate every single one of you guys for coming on this and doing the final mock draft before the actual draft Wednesday. Appreciate you guys, coming on here, spitting your knowledge on these prospects and doing this mock draft. But before we sign off, you guys have the floor, whatever guys projects you guys have going on, please go, and tell the people where they can find you on social media and all that good stuff. So Zach, you can start.
Appreciate you having me, Chris. Really fun show, guys. It was a good time. Hit me up whenever you want, but Twitter's the only place you can catch me. Zak Noble, 4 Seasons podcast, and then Noble and Rue show on Ball is Life.
Nice. Nate?
So you can follow me on Twitter, specifically at DraftDeeper. The website, draftdeeper.com. Trust me, it's in the works. It's coming. But Twitter's the main place. Then obviously subscribe to the Draft Deeper podcast. Anyone out there, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. I got the YouTube channel going, so we're cooking. And I appreciate being on with all you guys. I've already had Chris on the pod. Hopefully we can get some stuff worked out with the rest of you guys as well. So would enjoy it.
Awesome. Max?
Yeah, thank you, Chris, everybody. I love learning and talking the game, so really appreciate you guys giving me your time and platform to do this. Max Van Auken, Instagram, Twitter. My podcast is Max Van Auken, abbreviations worked out MVP on YouTube. Also, this Wednesday on SUV TV, we are doing a draft show with Scott Phillips, Sports Talk 2319. My guy Zach Ramey, got Kate, got Daryl.
Good squad. That's a nice group of guys there. That's a lineup, man.
Yeah, very excited. So I appreciate that. I'll definitely check out all of you guys' platforms and your shows. I really appreciate it. Which I kind of have. All you guys have amazing content as is.
Appreciate you. You're killing it, and that show's gonna be must watch. So definitely gonna tune into that. Chris, what you got going on?
Hey, man, appreciate you having me on, Chris. It's been great talking with you guys doing this mock draft. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Chris_Bolton_12. I have my podcast to check up with Chris Bolton, just talking NBA hoops, draft, basketball. Just if it's basketball, we talking it. So
there it is.
Podcast out right there, and that's basically all I got going on.
Yep. And you could catch me on Off the Ball Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Podcast available on all podcast platforms. But shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the draft dudes that I've been able to have on the show and to be able to interact with. Man, I've learned so much. We've had a long time to learn a lot about these guys. A long 8-9 months it's been, but it's finally coming through. But I appreciate all the draft dudes and everyone who's been on the show. I think this is the 5th mock draft show that I've done, and I learned so much. Like every time I do these shows and every time I have someone on the show, I keep learning more about these guys. So appreciate to all the previous people who were on the show, and appreciate to you 4 gentlemen for coming on the show and chopping up with me and doing the draft, sharing your thoughts about these guys, because you guys are brilliant. Like I said, thanks for this hour and 45 minutes, to be able to chop it up and talk. I appreciate your time, guys. Drafts it's finally coming. Yeah. It's here. We're almost there. We're on the day and some change, to the draft, and obviously the craziness with trades and all that. So
you thought 2020 was good. Just wait for 2021.
Oh
this
yeah,
class
man.
Coming in is insane.
Oh man, yeah, that's these next 2 classes are going to be fun. But we got to respect the 2020 because we've invested so much. I feel like I know these guys like the back of my hand. Back and forth, family members, all that stuff. But it's been a pleasure, having you gentlemen on the show. And like I said, best of luck and all your all the great stuff you do, because I check out all your guys' shows, You guys are killing it with content. You guys are killing it on social media. You guys have great platforms. So shout out to you guys for doing a great job. And, you know, like I said, I've learned so much from all you guys. So thanks for, you know, thanks for coming on. This was fun, guys. Have a great night. Be safe. Please be safe out there, guys. You know, it's still crazy out here with the COVID and all this crap. So just be safe and all that. And on that note, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for everyone for watching, you know, and spending your night watching us, you know, talk about the draft and all that. But draft's almost here, you know, so we're all excited about that. So on that note, guys, be safe and have a great night.
Yes, sir.